Hey, witches!
Hi, hello, and welcome back. We are in Gloom in our
Gloom
the Gloom
between
between
stars.
stars. Sorry, I was trying to say a lot of different words all at once. This is part 2 of the book, The Daughter of Madness and Ruin.
Yeah, part
Bum, bum,
one of part two.
bum. Yeah.
Episode one
So,
of part two.
okay.
Starting with
Okay.
chapter 9.
I had a lot to say, like one per page.
I didn't have anything on that first page, but I do have something on page 90. So this chapter starts with um Knox is
It's like after the
depressed.
fight.
Yeah, her dad just died. She just met her dad, and then in that same instance watched him die. Um and Yaslin carried her from that location to the tree where she's currently sitting, which I think I was under the impression was back up at the Outlook where the horse is.
Yeah.
But at the top of page 90, after that first paragraph, it says, "It was one tragedy too many." And the way that that short little sentence spoke to my soul. Like this, I know this doesn't release for like another week or two, but we have had a really like October 2024 in the United States of America was a fucking shit show. And in my personal household, it was an even bigger shit show. And it was like one thing after another. 2024 can go ahead and end now, except I don't want that either because then it's going to be inauguration day and it's going to be even worse. So it's just a hot mess. Anyway, that sentence it went into my eyes and down my throat and right into my soul, wherever that's sitting. It's in there. So that was what I had to say about that page. Um, but like this is basically just the aftermath of the battle. So Nox is just sitting against this tree, um, and Zakai is helping all of the surviving soldiers get back to the city. Um, Gadriel is burying the king and building funeral pyres for those that are dead. Ash, Yaslin brings Amaris to Nox. Um, and then Ash and Malik are bringing their. Where did that even just go? I was on page 91 is where I wrote about it.
Odin, sit the fuck down.
Lay down,
I
baby.
I hear your crusty ass paws on that bed.
Yes. There it is.
Hussy.
Knox, the um the Reavers bring their prisoner, which is the girl from Knox is assuming that she's from Soulgrave. Is that how you say it? Soulgrave?
Yeah.
Um, and I'm just like, who the fuck is this girl? Like, what the fuck is happening? That's all I had for page 91. But I also had, I guess, something for about every page.
I would hope so. Because this was the page where I texted you, was like, vindication! So my first comment isn't until 107. So if you have anything until then, take it away.
I also just wrote on page 92 that, like, I think that this is when I started to be like, okay, maybe this book is actually going to be good because Nox and Amaris are back together. Like, we're not doing another thing where, like, the whole book is this epic adventure of them trying to find each other. Because I was really over that. And if I didn't know if I was gonna make it through a whole other book of that, but that didn't happen. Um, page 94, Amaris starts to wake up. Well, page 92, she starts to wake up. But on page 94, she's like thinking in her head, and I'm like, does she realize that the king is dead? Um, because Yaslin is like, Nux and Yaslin are being snarky to each other like they are, and she's like, what, Yaslin, no offer to fly me this time? And Yaslin's like, apologies, your highness. And I'm like, does Amaris know that
Yeah,
Nox is the queen now?
or even just like the princess, because it wasn't
Yeah.
explicitly said anywhere, to be honest,
Yeah.
anywhere.
No, it wasn't. So I'm like, I don't know. And then, okay, this is just wild. So page 96, they're back at they're
Castle.
at the castle, and Amaris has like been taken care of. She's been fed. I think she's being bathed right now.
Yeah.
And the servants are like talking back and forth, and she's listening. And I was like, oh fucking hell. Amaris doesn't know that Nox took her place at the Selkie. She doesn't know any of that.
Mm-mm. So she's just assuming that like she was a free, happy woman,
At Farley,
and
she thinks
that
she was just still at the orphanage and that,
yeah, and then these people um are not saying that she's a whore, but like saying she worked at a brothel, and
yeah,
she's getting upset about it.
yeah. She's like, that's not true. And like, bitch,
Go
that's
talk to
just
her
fucking
then.
shit. Yeah. And then the next thing that I have is on page 102. So you can say yours next.
I don't have anything till 107.
Oh, I thought you said 102.
106.
Okay, so
Sorry.
Amaris goes to find Nox, and she kind of is really fucking insensitive.
Uh,
Like she walks in and she's like,
yeah.
"I fucking love you, bitch," and then she tries to like she like
Make out
climbs
with
onto
her.
her and like straddles her and tries to make out with her, and like Nox is clearly like rebuffing these advances over and over and over again, and Amaris is not getting it. Um,
And she's not even trying to understand either.
no,
And this is like the this is the thing that makes no sense to me, and here's the thing. I've never been in this situation, so, like, I don't know how I would truly react after a tragedy such as this, but, like, I had the same issue in Akatar when all of the fucking Illyrians were dying around them, and Reese is just like, "Give me a blowjob, bitch."
right?
And
Like what
she's
the
like,
fuck is
"With
happening?
pleasure." Like, all of these thi and I'm like, "Do you not see what's happening right outside your door? Like, there's people fucking dying."
Yeah,
And no one gives a shit, and I'm sitting here like, "What the fuck?" Like, that is the energy I'm getting from I almost called her Andarna. That is the energy I'm getting from Amaris,
yeah. I
and
don't just
I feel like I would be like, "Can can you please go away? Like, I'm not trying to
and
do
I
this."
yeah, and I actually wrote 102, but this is actually on page 103. Um, she's like, this doesn't feel right. The only new thing is that Nox has learned about herself. I can be sympathetic. She's just thinking all of these things. She's like, I understand. But then she continues to try to fuck her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. She met her dad and watched him die in a span of a few minutes, like just a couple days ago. So maybe this isn't about you, bitch. Like,
Right, and she's not being sympathetic at all to understanding anything.
no.
It's one thing, like, if you didn't know, it's another that you had, like, the idea and
Yeah.
still went on with it.
Yeah. And then she like Knox finally gets like she's like this is nothing to do with my father, his death, anything to do with Rascot, nothing. And then she's like this is about you. And she's like I need to tell you this, and she's trying to tell her about the apple and the visions that she had. And like
You know,
Amaris
the
is like The
open
fuck?
to talk
Yeah.
about everything because last time you wanted to talk about it, shit didn't happen.
Yeah, and she's like, I need some time because I don't she's like, you're not human and you're not Fae. And Amaris is like, so the temple priestess is my mother, and Nox is like, she was your surrogate. But she's like, this situation, this conversation would be so fucking hard to have in either one of their positions
Yeah.
that like I was just like, fuck, like this is hard. But then on page 107, it
Gasp.
yeah.
This is where the drama begins and
Yes.
drastically picks up. And you know what? I felt such joy.
Yes.
Such fucking joy because nothing is more chef's kiss than someone and their character like being scrutinized
Yeah.
for what they're being like for their wrongdoing and then they're like thinking, "Ugh, I'm the victim." Oh my god.
Oh my god, yes. So
Oh,
I've been in a relationship like that in the past where I gave and gave and gave and was just like Knox was where I was like
oh
giving of
my god.
myself
I
and
was
being the
getting
one
so triggered.
so in love, doing all I can for them. And then when I'm finally done, they want to be like, oh, let me show you love back. And it's like, no, bitch, it's too late now. I'm done. And I also felt triggered by this because Knox is finally like, I don't know if what I'm feeling is real or if this is the prayer. And then on top of that, like, what even are you? You're not human. You're not Fae. What are you?
Yeah. And
Like,
honestly, I really like that she is actually thinking about this. And I know like she's not thinking about this prior because of like she wasn't with Amaris when she learned all of this and she wasn't aware of some of these things. And just like the finally I'm with her kind of moment hit her. So she wasn't actually thinking clearly at this point, but like
yeah.
with everything that's happened recently, with everything that's happened with her lineage, with her father, with all of this, like it needs to happen, it needs to be talked about. And I think Knox is in the right for wanting to explain to her like
Yes.
this is where it's coming from, this is
This
what's
is how I
happening.
feel.
Yeah, and it's it's like the moment in a toxic relationship that you willingly open up to tell the partner, these are my concerns, can you please talk to me about it
Oh,
or
and then
like
on page
understand it.
108, oh,
She oh my god.
Amaris, just
Okay,
fuck you.
I had so many feelings. I didn't have a lot to say. I had a lot of feelings.
I
And my
wrote, oh,
feelings
fuck you,
came out.
Amaris, at least 3 times.
Yeah. So, what is it? So she's like Nox tells her entire like story, her feelings behind it, her confusion, which is fair. I
Very
mean,
fair.
it wasn't until like Ash speaks about it later did it like make sense. But like at first, okay, I understand that. And then Amaris drops the apple into her lap, her hands balling into fists. So you feel confused. You, who has been such a constant in my entire life, even when I've had crushes on boys or liked men and spent years questioning what this relationship meant to me, only to finally accept that you are my exception. I love you, Nox. You're the only woman I'll ever want. Meanwhile, if it's the kingdom's rumors are to be believed, you've been off fucking anyone and everything. And I was like, fuck
The
you.
way that I would have smacked the shit out of her, first of all, but also, yes,
Oh.
fuck you, Amaris. Like, are you? I've been off just fucking everyone and anything. I took your place. because
Yeah,
you used your persuasion on me and made me stay. So then
which
I
is
got sent to a fucking brothel.
which is something I'm questioning about. And this is something that we can dive in later.
Yeah,
But
I her persuasion
okay,
doesn't work on the Fae.
doesn't work on half Fae either.
Yeah.
Now, if her mom is, a witch, not necessarily like I understand
Osiris
witch
is Fae. He's full
yeah.
Fae.
Like, and I understand witchcraft is different in like this kind of realm, but like if the queen is a witch, is it something that you just do? Or is
I don't
it
know.
like passed through like lineage? So, but the queen herself wasn't, you know, anything with did she it Amaris's persuasion didn't work on her either. So my question is she is the queen fae, or at least part fae, which is why she has that magic illusionary kind of magic. And not necessarily that that makes, Nox full fae, but how did the persuasion work on Nox when she's
Mm-hmm.
half to three-fourths fae, possibly?
My theory is that at that time she hadn't fully awakened her powers. She'd only been
Oh,
like feeding off of affection and hadn't
you're
awakened her
right.
powers yet. That's my theory.
Yeah. And even possible, maybe she wasn't actually persuaded in any way, shape, or form, the way that a lot of other people have been persuaded. Maybe
Yeah.
she's actually just she was so not necessarily in love, but like so wanting to protect her that it's like, please wait for me here or whatever.
Yeah. But anyway, she says something really fucked up, and Nox is like, I know you're angry, but she says, but you are acting so unkind right now. Don't say something you can't take back. And then Amaris keeps going.
Oh, yeah. She's
And
like, "You've spent your whole life knowing the goddess made your heart for women, haven't you? That wasn't me, Nox. Do you know how confusing it's been for me? I grew up liking boys. I like men. I do. I like fighting with them. I like training with them. I like wrestling and flirting and spending time with them. I've tried and failed on more than one occasion to create something with a man. And here you've been destroying my feelings and twisting my head for years. You've had years to experience the world. You've let goddess knows who into your bed, but you were it for me. I thought that made this special, Knox. Finally, after all this time, I want the same thing you've always wanted, but the instant it was my choice in return, you turned me away. Do you know how fucked up that is? And finally, Knox goes, fuck you.
fuck
And I'm
you.
like, yes,
Yes.
get her.
And then Amaris goes, "Are you serious? Really, bitch? You were just like me. And then when she
Yeah,
has the gall to for once be like, no, fuck you, me.
yeah.
And then you're gonna be like, are you serious?
And Knox is like, all I'm saying is I'm having a confusing moment right now because of everything that has happened to me, on top of seeing what the tree has told me. So
Yeah,
what I am implying is I need time to
I
think
need a
about this.
moment.
A
Yeah,
moment to where I'm not being dragged from this place to that place to rescue something or someone.
but I love this. There's one line that Nox says that I'm like, fuck yes, Nox. Tell this bitch about herself. She says, your cruelty and childness are astounding right now. Yes.
Yeah.
Childishness. I said that wrong, but your cruelty and childishness are astounding right now, which is what I feel like we've been saying since at least the beginning of book two.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
oh my
and
God.
Amaris is just pissed off. I think she's mainly pissed off that she just can't lose her virginity.
Right. And she's mad that other people have been with Nox. Like, Nox didn't have a fucking choice. And she keeps throwing
Yeah.
it in her face.
And that's what she said. Meanwhile, I still can't get rid of my goddess damn maidenhood while you, and Nox goes, while I what? While I took your place in the whorehouse, while I was shipped off with Millicent to sell my body for the deposit she made on you so that you could get away and run off to live your best life? Is that what you're accusing me of, giving you a shot at freedom? Because if you are, you're more of a goddess damn ungrateful bitch than I've ever could have believed. You escaped and left me behind. I didn't hold it against you. I continued to fight for you, for us both. I spent the last few years as an escort. You stand before me, judging me for the things I've done to rescue you from a life that was meant to be yours. And I'm like, get her.
Yes. And then Amaris is like, oh fuck.
Nox, I'm sorry. I went to
And Nox is like, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Get out. And she's like, oh,
Oh,
trust me, I'm gone.
listen. This next part was great though.
Yes. And then so Nox throws the apple like at Amaris, but Amaris is already gone.
And it hits Yaslin.
And
And Yaz is like, what the fuck?
did you just throw an apple at me?
But the greatest thing is that she like pushes her up against the wall, like chokes her, and I'm like,
with her
damn, I
like
know you're
forearm, like
yeah, it's like, damn, I know you're angry, but like, Yaz is just walking by. Don't fucking kill her yet. And then it like turned like it took a turn I wasn't expecting.
Nox is like, do you still want to fuck me? And Yaslin's like, uh, uh
Uh
yeah. And Nox is like,
good.
good, get in. And sends her into her bedroom. And I was like, the last thing I wrote on page 111 was, oh, fuck yes.
I was like,
I'm ready for this. I want this enemies to lovers to be, I want them to be endgame. This is what I want. Fuck Amaris.
You know what's so funny? When when I finished this page, you know that like the little child he was like, Jesus Christ. That was my reaction. I was like, oh.
That was not mine. I was like, yes. And I turned the page.
I was like,
I kept reading.
yeah, and honestly, this is like I was like, good thing I still have to continue to read.
Yes. So that was the end of chapter 9. And then we go into chapter 10. And I don't write anything till page 116 because I never do during the sex scenes. But this first few pages of this chapter is Yaslin and Nox hate fucking. There's no better word for it. It's like rough. They're biting. They're scratching. They're like this
Sorry,
scene.
blowing into the ear. Ah. Okay, well, I lost her again. Damn. It's like once we start paying for a subscription to something, it goes away. Welcome back.
What the fuck? I don't know what's happening. Anyway, it was the same thing. It said the same thing. Anyway, the way that scene, like how the last scene, like if it had been a different person from Amaris with Gadriel, that scene was your thing. This scene
Was your thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
You can tell who's the lesbian in the
Well, and
partnership
not
here.
only that, but like biting is a thing for me. Like biting my lip, biting my thigh, but just biting.
Just no choking.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of choking, but biting, scratching, like that's a thing for me. So like
Get it, Brittany.
she's probably like, "Oh my god."
Damn, girl, your mic is loud.
Again? Oh, yeah, cuz I had to hold on. It's cuz I had to refresh again so it set the setting right back up to the top.
Mm.
Is that better?
Yeah,
okay.
That's perfect. Thank you. I was like, my ears.
But yeah, so that was
your thing.
Yeah. I was enjoying that scene very much.
On page 117, they're done. She's settling into her bed, basically, just kind of not reliving, but like she's taxed all of her angry energy, basically. So she's like thinking on things, and she was sitting there, and she made a comment, and this is always something that has sat with me for various things throughout life, but she was saying, like, maybe if she'd been able to sort through her thoughts and feelings more quickly, last night could have been the culmination of years of waiting between those 2, and it's like, that is not Amaris's thing.
Yeah.
There is no reason for her to jump your ass because you're sorting through feelings and trauma and years of what could have been,
Mhm.
and that is not something that she can change.
No.
There is no reason for you to think quicker or sort through
No.
things faster
That wasn't Amara's
because
problem.
that's yeah, that's not your problem. No, boo boo, you take all the time in the world that you need for yourself and your mental health. Fuck her.
Yeah.
If she wants you to move quicker, then she is not deserving of you, your goddessry, all of that shit.
Let's be clear.
Absolutely not.
Whether or not she's patient and understanding, she doesn't fucking deserve Knox. She doesn't deserve her.
Yeah, not after all of these things.
Yeah, she just doesn't.
My favorite is she's always like, "Ugh, I'm thinking of Knox, but I'm trying to sleep with Ash."
Yeah, what the fuck, bitch? Like, shut
I
up.
was like,
I get it on the level of like
"Ma'am."
trying to figure out your sexuality, but I don't think that Amaris is gay. I don't think she is. I think,
I think she's choosing an exception.
yeah, like Knox is her exception. She literally called her that. So, like, she is
And honestly, that would probably piss me off too.
right. Like, imagine
Like,
being in that situation. So, you don't like any other women, you're not attracted to women, but just me. That could go either
right,
way. That
and
could be like, oh, it's just me. I'm the only one special enough. Or a,
I think it's the way that you preface it. If
yeah,
she wouldn't have sat there and saying, "I like men. I like this. I like all of
yeah,
these things doing with men, but not for you." And it's like,
fuck you. Like, the whole thing was just, bleh.
to be honest, you guys literally just had like a best friend
Yeah,
relationship with a one-sided love story.
yeah. But to bounce back one page real quick, because this part made me laugh. Um, when Knox woke up in the morning, Yaz had fell asleep in her bed. Um, and she was like, excuse me. But Yaslin wakes up
Get out.
and she's like, she gets up, throws her clothes on, and is like, um, she's like, how's my hair? And Knox goes, it looks like you've just spent the night getting fucked, if that's what you're wondering. And Yaslin goes, perfect, and walks out the door. And that makes me crack up a little bit because just fucking funny. Um,
It's like, damn. Okay.
and then Knox goes down to breakfast. And there's like this whole thought process that she has about not taking a bath. Like,
Oh yeah, she will like wants to reek of sex or something like
yeah.
that
And then so she goes down to
to like
breakfast.
prove.
Yeah. And there's Malik. There's Malik.
Sweet boy.
And they're like basically just talking while she eats. And he's like, um, oh, then Zakai shows up. And Zakai, so if you remember back when Nox first met Gadriel and Zakai, she could hear their voices correctly, but she could
It was like screeching in a way.
no, Nox could
But
understand them, but well, yeah, it was like screechy, but she could understand them. But they looked like a
yeah.
Gimni, and she Odin lay down. Um, but so she couldn't tell them apart though because they both still looked like a Gimni. So she gave Zakai like she tore a strip of silk off her dress and tied it around his wrist so she could tell them apart, and he's still wearing it. And she like
It's because he's such a good guy.
yeah,
I love me some
that like
Zakai.
makes her heart warm.
Like, oh, maybe I could trust him. And it's like, yeah, you can. You guys have a lot more in common than you think.
Yeah, which I thought was that part was sweet. And then
I think Sakai is a great person. I think Gadriel has a lot of faults, but Sakai, like, he's like Malik, but like Gadriel mixed with like some Nox.
Yeah, so if
Like
I
he's a good
hadn't
guy.
read Wing and Arrow or whatever it's called, the short story, I would agree. That story, however, I don't know. It gave me some like about Zakai. I don't know. Gave me a little bit of ick, but not
Well,
irredeemable. He's no Tamlin, but
you also say that when I sit there and I'm like, "Ooh, I like this," and you're like, "Yeah, it's a red flag. Of course I like it." That makes sense.
I mean, yeah. um, but on page 121, they're talking about like they waste no time. They jump right in. He's like, Gadriel's coming in. He's like, King Sirius is dead, and Nox, you're the only surviving child. I wish we were having more fanfare to welcome you to the kingdom, but um, basically, we need to announce you as the new monarch, and we need to come up with a sentence for the prisoner. And Nox just starts laughing. And she's like, "You want to know what I think? I think prostitute turned princess is a pretty outlandish rags to riches story. I think this whole thing is absurd, and that if I keep slapping myself, eventually I'll wake up. I think the best I can offer you is to step into the position as a placeholder until you find someone better suited to serve as a monarch." And I was just cracking up because I feel like that would be my exact reaction. Like, I'm sorry, what kind of weird alternate reality am I living in that you're all looking to me for the answer? Like, what
Yeah.
is happening?
But Gadriel brings up like a great point on the next couple of pages that I personally kind of like. Um he like makes everybody like leave basically, and he just wants to talk to Nox one-on-one, and he straight up asks her like, "Are you a succubus?" And she's like very and this is something I think this is something that Piper CJ talked about, like having that like religious trauma, like the taboo kind of thing,
Yep.
because Fairhold, everything is like from the north is terrible, dark, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So succubus is bad.
And yeah, and even in like Christianity, succubus
Yeah.
and or like succubi are bad.
Mm-hmm.
Um and they are like demonizing it, and that's kind of how she's taken it, like this is a curse, this is that. And Gadriel's like, no, there's, I mean, it's rare, but it happens, and there's even men with the same power, and
Yeah.
there's this and there's that. You just have to learn how to control it, and you just have to do these things. And I was sitting there like,
It's not a bad thing. Yeah.
and I was like, I like that something that you can't control. It's like saying that like if you have like a mental disorder or something along the
Or how they used
lines
to say
that
people
like
with
you
left
can't
hand, like left that who are left handed are evil.
yeah, and it's I like it because it makes me feel like yay.
Yeah.
But it also makes me think that maybe just maybe she can control it so much so that
Yeah.
her and Malik could be together.
I think so, but I don't know. I like them as like
I know you just want the Yaslin
I
story.
do. I do like I wouldn't be pissed if it was Nox and Malik, but I don't think while they have chemistry and they have a really great friendship, I don't think that they are personality wise compatible enough to be endgame.
Yeah, I also I agree with that, and I think because of her declaration that she or like the talk that she had with Malik talking about how she really cares for Amaris, um the concerns he had with I wouldn't say her being secret, but like her being apprehensive with some things and like vice versa. I feel like he's not necessarily stopped pursuing, but like he's going to be there for her in any way that he can. But then that's like he cares about her, but I think he's like stopped those feelings like right where they are.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think he he what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily looks up to, but he not supports, but respects. He respects Amaris to not step on those toes because he doesn't know where she is on that. So
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
sad but true.
And I
But
like
that's all I
he
got.
says something about um I want to be empathetic. You have because she's like being down on herself. He's you have to understand that you feel this way about yourself because of where you were raised. This wouldn't be a question on your mind
Mhm.
if you've grown up in Rascot. There's no shame in being either succubus, incubus, or any of the manifestations of ability that Fairhold has spent hundreds of years calling dark power in the North. And the way that that spoke to my soul as someone who grew up in a small town, Republican, red
Yes.
state, religious area.
Yes.
My maternal family are were apostolic Christians, so like extremely um religious zealot kind of thing. Um and growing up gay and not only growing up gay but being attracted to melanated
A
people.
different race. Yeah.
um that's always been a thing. So when he said that I was like,
Nah, what do you mean? Brittany's white.
listen,
She white.
some of her family has made comments that um she's whiter than I am, but that's a personality thing.
That's definitely a personality thing, and I think that's just because, like, I know we didn't grow up in the same area, but we grew up in this similar thing, and I feel like that's just
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny? I've known a lot of, like, really, really pale redhead gay people who are fucking ratchet, and I'm just like,
That's because listen, being redhead should be its own race altogether because we are not like you. But honestly,
because I
like
feel like
there's so many genetic anomalies with being redhead. Like anesthesia burns off faster. It's not been scientifically proven because it's such a small percentage of the population that they're not investing
mhm,
in researching
it's like
that.
2%, it's like
But
yeah.
it has been like anecdotally proven. And then we have a higher pain tolerance. And um, while most of my skin has a melanin deficiency, when I go in the sun, I have hyperpigmentation on certain parts of my skin, like, and that being freckles. Which, by the way, the fact that glitter freckles are a thing now, and that's like a trend that's
That's Taylor
happening,
Swift.
pisses me off because I grew up being made the fuck fun of for my freckles and getting talked mad shit about. And my grandma would call them angel kisses to try to make me feel better about them because I wanted to cut them out of my skin. And it pisses me off that now they're probably, I mean, it makes me happy for like kids that are redheaded now because they don't have to go through that. They're like, look, I just have natural freckles when you have to draw yours on. But like, it also makes me very angry for my inner child.
Mhm.
Anyway, I digress. Um,
I I I don't know, I just think it's funny because, uh I don't know. It's just funny because I just I'm thinking back on like my time in like middle school and I think my biggest problem is I straight up told this bitch to not hit on me and to not touch me and please don't try flirting with me because I will shut it down. And she didn't fucking listen. And she was a bigger girl. She was ginormous. She was a basketball player. She was like and you might not that, like, you know her, but, like, she was friends with somebody you dated from my rival high school. She was also a redhead. I think her name was Brittany, to be honest.
the one I dated was named Brittany.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think she I don't know. I feel like everybody in a small town, when you're gay, you date everybody at least once or
Yeah, it's
twice.
kind of incestuous.
Um, yeah, it really is though. But I remember 8th grade, I was sitting in front of her in math class, and I would get these like little like I don't know, like touches on my back, and I'm
See, that's not okay
like
though. Like that's not okay no matter who you are, no matter what sexuality you are. Like if
yeah.
somebody has asked you to stop, you fucking stop.
Yeah. So like I'm sitting there like I get it. I'm a Catholic girl. You have made comments about exploring what I might like. Please don't touch me.
Yeah.
Please don't braid my hair. Please don't touch my hair. Like, I have no idea who the fuck I am. I wear the exact same sweatshirt every single day because I have no idea who the fuck I am because I went to a Catholic school for the majority of my life and now I'm in public school. So, like, please don't touch me. And her hair, and I don't know if this is just because she had like thin hair. She had a lot of those thin hair, but her hair was always so fucking greasy.
Mm.
And she always had like this one piece of hair that was like, hold on, let me get a thick piece of hair so you can like actually see it. But it was always like this in front of her face.
Yeah, that was a
But
thing, I
she
feel.
had, yeah, and it was just one piece. It was like one strand of hair like this. And the rest of it was like combed back, like greased back
Ugh.
basically. And her hair was like all the way down to her ass. And when I say redhead lesbians are ratchet, she is the reason.
It's facts though. I'm not gonna deny that.
You ratchet ass bitch.
Yeah, well, it happens.
I love you,
I
but
love you too,
bitch.
but it's fine. But I also would respect it if somebody told me to stop touching them. So,
Yeah,
anywho,
as an 8th grader, when I'm telling a classmate to stop touching me, like that's rough. And that was the same year another classmate was like sexually harassing all the girls.
mm.
I had to report him 4 times.
Oh jeez, yikes.
And his last name was Bonerman
Oh god,
or
that poor
Bonerman or
poor
something like
child.
that. And I was like, no wonder you're sexually harassing everybody. Everyone's egging you on to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Trauma.
We trauma dumped for a minute, but now back to this. I think if we just plucked Amaris out of the story and like threw her over there, this group, I love them for Nox because like the last bit of the chapter is just Malik. Um, she tells Malik that she slept with Yaslin, and he's like, "Okay, I don't own you." Um, and I love this group for them. I love Gadriel for her. I love Zakai for her. I love Malik for her. Ash, all of them. I just kick Amaris out of the situation, and I love them
Yeah.
all. But that's all I had for chapter 10. Um, so on to chapter 11.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like so it's Ash and Amaris talking, and I feel like um Amaris is kind of starting to realize that it's her fault. A lot of this is her fault.
Good.
Because it's like the bottom of page 130 into 131. She's like, she just talks about all these things that she's done. Well, she talks about other things too, like the queen turned the Reavers into enemies of Fairhold. She had thrown herself at Gadriel, someone she believed she trusted, only to learn that she had given herself to a traitor, and she had set fire to whatever she and Nox had shared. Um, and so she's like starting to, at least in her mind, take ownership for some of that. Not that she's redeemed herself by any means, but at least she knows she's being a shithead.
Yeah. But also, like, you asked for it.
Yeah, well, and
She supplied.
I like that I like that Ash is like everyone's voice of reason.
Yeah, he's very neutral
Yeah,
in
like he
everything.
takes her to go training, um, and that gets her talking and it gets her starting to think about things. Plus, it just gets out some of her emotion. Like it gets out some of that like anger and stuff.
Yeah.
One
I have something too when we get closer to the end of
Oh, on page 134 is my next comment.
mine's after that.
They're like talking back and forth. Um, and he's like, she's asking him, have you like tried to experiment to figure out what powers you have? And Ash is like, no, I haven't really explored it, but if Nox does and she's only half I don't see why I wouldn't. And Amaris is like, what power does Nox have? And he's like, you don't know? No, she doesn't know because she never fucking asked. And when Nox tried to talk to her about this shit, she cut it off and was like, let's not talk, let's just fucking cuddle. So, like, no, she doesn't fucking know, but she's gonna act the victim about it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Self centered little shit. That's what I wrote.
um, I just was okay. So you know how she's got that nickname called Isla,
Yeah.
and it's like the oak tree.
Yeah.
The significance of it now. Is she Isla because she's born of the tree of life?
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I mean, obviously, at first, that's not like what
Right. Like, he
Ash was
doesn't know
talking
that,
about,
but,
but
like, is that fate being funny?
yeah. Also, he's concerned about Malik because of everything and the fact that she is a succubus. I feel like Malik was probably under a spell at first,
Yeah.
but I think it's like it wears off. Not that it wears off, but like he's been around her
Mm-hmm.
long enough. He knows exactly what she is.
Yeah.
I think at first, yes, but not now.
I would agree. So they, I don't know, they start to get lost. Like, they're done training, Ash and Amaris, and they're trying to find their way back. And they kind of get lost and just start exploring, and they find the dungeon. And they
What a
find
pleasant turn of events.
right. And they find the prisoner who finally starts to talk to Amaris. Because Mars asks, who are you?
And only Amaris.
Yeah. And she says, I'll tell you who I am if you tell me what you are. And then
No, 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 no.
she says, but not with the mongrel present. And by that, she means Ash. And then Ash walks away, and that's the end of chapter 11. Which this felt really dangerous. So at the beginning of chapter 12, this felt really dangerous to me that she would be there by herself because I feel like Amaris might become a villain at some point in these books.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Wholeheartedly.
I very much feel like at the very least she's going to betray them, but I feel like she might become a villain. So this felt dangerous to me that she was alone with the prisoner. Like, is she gonna set him free? Like, what's gonna happen? Um,
I was like, what if she sweet talks her way out of the
right. Like,
cell?
what if she convinces Amaris that she should be let go? I don't know. But they start talking, and we learn that this Fae's name is Tanith. Um, and they start talking. Then on page 143, we're learning about Tanith and what her angle is here. So she doesn't like the half breeds, basically. She doesn't like humans or any of the half breeds because it's the dilution of magic. So she's all about magical purity and wants
Purebred. Pure blood. Sorry, pure
yeah,
blood.
she wants them to Um, she wants to like get rid of all of the humans and half blood people or fae. And she's Amaris says like, why do you hate, basically what kind of hate would drive you to slaughter? And Tanith's like, hate? She's like, you murdered a bunch of people. And Tanith is like, no. The doctor, like, does a doctor hate influenza? Does a physician hate weak hearts or the fever spots that spread in close quarters? Um, or do the healers and medicine men identify a natural disaster and take steps to eradicate and prevent the virus from spreading? And Amaris is like, humans are a virus? And I was like, yes, humans are a virus. Like, look at the world right now. Humans are a virus for fucking sure. I really liked that analogy.
Yeah, we are. We are a virus. We are the worst animal kind out there.
Yeah.
I also think it's eerie that as she's talking to her about all of this, I'm sitting here like, damn. I'm sure other countries are dealing with this too in some way, shape, or form, but America is dealing with this right now.
Yep.
I wouldn't call it the pure blood, purebred, movement, but it's definitely a
Divisive and
supremacy of some sort.
of the white variety, let's be real.
Oh, the white male variety, the
Yeah.
white patriarchy.
Yeah, like, yes. And then we're almost to the end of chapter 12, and Amaris runs into Gadriel. Well, I guess she doesn't run into him. She goes to find him
To report
at the
what's going on.
Yeah, she goes to the war room to find him to report what she learned, and he is like still trying to talk to her and figure things out with her. And she's being a little bitch.
Yeah. She needs to grow up.
She really fucking does. I'm so sick of her.
This is not what being an adult is about.
No, she's getting on my
You've
fucking
gone to
nerves.
war. You've done different things. You've fought things. Like, you are not a child anymore. You need to act like an adult.
Yes. And so he's like, please, let's talk about it. Like, I don't expect you to forgive me, but let's at least have a conversation. And he grabs her arm and he's like, you built a wall once before when we were at the university. We found our way back to each other. Talk to me and we can fix this. And she tries to jerk her arm free, but he doesn't let go. And she basically makes eye contact with him and says snowbird, which, if you'll recall, was their safe word. And that means he has to stop whatever he's doing. So he lets her go because she's being a little bitch. I mean, don't get me wrong.
He shouldn't be grabbing
her. No, he shouldn't be. That's what I was going to say. He shouldn't be grabbing her. And when she tried to get him to let go, he should have let go. And I get why she feels betrayed. But also, you just turned around and, like, betrayed the fuck out of Nox and expected her to just get over it and talk to you. You expect everyone else to bend over backwards to forgive you. But you can't even listen to someone else's, what they have to say? Fuck you, Amaris.
Yeah. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on.
Yeah.
Cobb.
All of that. All of that.
But.
And that's the end of chapter 12.
I guess we'll see if she actually does something different in the next coming chapters. But until next time.
Bye.
I can't turn off the thing. It just says starting. I can't turn it off. Can you turn it off?